What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another look at recent sales for vintage Star Wars items. Not just action figures. I've got a few action figures in this video, but mainly loose complete vehicles. I feel like I haven't talked about loose complete vehicles in a while, and I've gotten a couple of requests for more loose complete coverage. Not everybody likes their stuff in acrylic, all right? We don't need acrylic carbonite for all of our toys, and some of you are just fine without that. So that's the kind of video that I'm making today. We got some really good sales here. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's start off with some vintage 3 3/4 inch figures, and then I've got a few 12-inch line figures before we dig into the vehicles. The first one was a double telescoping Luke Skywalker. The figure had some rubs and things like that. Overall, decent condition. The saber inner filament is all the way pulled out there, and I don't know what the correct measurement is for that inner filament on these double telescoping sabers. These were obviously the very early release sabers before they decided to get rid of that inner filament, but this one obviously has a little wave to it, which does affect the grading if you don't have a complete inner filament. I believe that also really hurts the grade on it. If you don't have the inner filament at all, it gets no grade from the grading companies. But I would guess that if you submitted this to a grading company as is, maybe clean it up, try to get some of the scuffs off the white, things like that. I bet with this one we get like a 70 plus, somewhere in that ballpark. And it sold for $713 in change. That one was sold by Star Wars Daddy, who is a YouTuber. I didn't realize when I pulled this one up that it was his listing, but there you go, $713.87 on that one. And go check out Star Wars Daddy on YouTube. He's a buddy of mine and a Patreon supporter. Next up, this seller always has really nice high-grade loose figures. I think he's also sold some mini rigs and some mint on cards, things like that. This one was a Princess Leia Organa, and this one appears to be the two-line Hong Kong. Probably in about 85 grade condition, maybe 80 plus, somewhere in there. Very tough to grade these, and it's very easy to get below an 85 with Princess Leia's because the torso can discolor slightly versus the arms and legs. $182.50 on that one. You know, in similar condition, maybe slightly worse condition, you're more like $150, but this one did sell for $182.50. I believe we showed one that was in very similar condition in the last watch list cleanout video, which I think is going to air the day before this one airs. And that one sold for around $150. So $150, $175-ish is about the going rate for a near mint to near mint plus first 12 Princess Leia. Here was another Blue Snags. This one was obviously not in perfect condition. And, you know, you got to be careful because to me, it looks like the belt on this one could have been touched up. Maybe I'm wrong there. You know, it could be some overspray. The boots obviously have some scuffs to it. That one sold for $400 in an auction, 12 bids on that one. And, you know, nice looking figure, probably about 75 grade, assuming that the belt buckle has not been touched up in any form or fashion. Torso was not discolored. That was kind of a nice feature there. A lot of these in similar condition usually have kind of greenish torsos where they've discolored over time. But that one did sell $400. Here was another one with the discolored torso, and it also did have a scratch on the belt buckle. So that's a good close-up there of what I'm talking about, is that torso turns like a greenish color relative to the deep dark blues that you see for the legs and arms. And that one still sold for $610, despite that scratch on the belt buckle and despite the torso discoloration. The boots were in very nice condition. You know, which one grades higher? I would say that this one probably gets a 75, and this one probably assuming again that the belt buckle has not been touched up, I think this one also gets a 75. Maybe not. I don't know. But let me know in the comments as you're leaving a like what you think about those two different Blue Snags. You know, pick your poison as to which one is better. This one has a better torso. This one's got better boots. Ideal, you get a figure with both a good clean, non-discolored torso and with the boots that you see here. Next up, we've got an A-Wing palette. This was a very clean-looking figure. One little nose rub, as you can see there on his nose, but the silver chest apparatus was pretty clean. One little nick on that. The hands look to be really clean there. That one sold for $182.50 from the same seller as the Leia. And then here was a yak face, and this kind of goes back to what I was talking about in another recent video, maybe yesterday's video, about how in the UK where this one sold, they go for a lot less than what they go for here in the U.S. This one sold for 355 pounds, which was $448, whereas there was one that was advertised as fresh mint on, fresh off of a card. Arms didn't move, so it was admittedly probably in better shape than this one, but it sold for $948, or more than about double what this one sold for in the UK. And that one was in the US. That sold for $948. So pretty amazing price differences on those Yak Faces, depending on where they're listed. Next up, I've got some 12-inch figures. We've got the Jawa in complete, pretty good condition. It's hard to tell based on the photos what kind of shape it's really in, but let's call it 80 grade condition. That one sold for $150. We had a Chewbacca that was complete with the box. The box had some wear to it and some creases and things like that. That one sold for $165. And then we had a near mint, what appears to be unused contents, 12-inch Luke Skywalker 12-inch with unused grappling hook. It's still in the baggie, along with the We Really Care certificate and the catalog. That one was listed for $375. The best offer accepted on that was $325. Now we're going to dig into some vehicles. And here's the special offer Land Speeder. This is just the box, and the special offer Land Speeder included baggies for C-3PO and R2-D2, along with a standard Land Speeder. So in theory, if you owned the box, you could pair it up with any Land Speeder or any C-3PO and R2-D2, because this is not unused contents, because the two figures came in baggies. But it just shows you how expensive this box is, and that's really what someone's paying for here. Is you're paying for like an 80 grade condition Land Speeder, 80 grade condition figures, along with the special offer box for $355. Now, mint and sealed box for something like this, you're probably over $1,000 very easily, if not closer to $1,500. That's just a wild guess. I haven't seen any sell recently. I'm sure there's been one that's sold on Hakes that was graded or qualified graded, something like that, but I haven't looked it up. I just wanted to point out that special offer sticker because that is pretty unique. You don't see that very often. I've got three different radio-controlled sand crawlers that sold, and I wanted to show those on the channel, and they were all recent sales. This one sold, it was working condition, advertised as near mint condition. Again, I'm only going on what they say. The remote control has obvious wear to the sticker, but the actual sand crawler itself looked to be in pretty clean condition. Sold for $910 with a tatty box. Here is another one that the box, you could argue, was in better condition. This one was also in working condition. It was listed for $1,100. It sold in a make an offer situation for $945. So we've got $910, $945, and then this one was in pretty clean condition as well, with a very clean box, and that's probably why this one sold for so much more. But this one sold in an auction for $1,527. So almost, let's call it $600 more than the other two sold for. Pretty incredible prices, and that's an item that I think that if you buy it in that $800 to $900 range, I've seen a few sell for $800 to $900 without the box. I think that you're going to do pretty well long term. They just seem to hold their value, and there's always demand for the Jawa Sandcrawler. It's just one of those items that is not in plentiful supply. And I say that there's three of them that just sold on eBay, but I just feel like if you can try to aim for sub $1,000, you're going to be fine. If you're willing to pay up for a really nice box, I mean, look at that box. That box was in pretty clean condition relative to the other two that just sold. So you're going to pay a lot of money for it. There's no getting around it. But if you want it, then and you want it in working condition, which I don't know if I particularly care if it was in working condition or not, you're going to be paying over $1,000 for the most part for one that has a really clean box. If you can live without the box, you just want one for display, and you want it working condition or in near mint condition, $800 to $900 is a good price target to aim for. Next up, we had a Tauntaun that was in very clean condition, a little bit of rubs on the belly there, but the reins were unbroken with a really good box. The box was in pretty clean condition. That one sold in Canada for $200 Canadian dollars, which is 147 US dollars. That's a pretty good number there. Although I just showed in my last watch list cleanout video an unused one that still had the inserts. It was basically untouched, that sold for $175 in a make an offer situation. So let's call it $140 to about $175 for a really nice clean Tauntaun. Next up, we had the AT-AT, and this one had a really clean box. The box looked to be in really great shape overall, as well as the walker itself was in very clean condition with stickers applied and the instruction sheet. This one sold over in the UK in an auction for 325 pounds, which is 410 US dollars, plus another $60 shipping for at least those of us here in the US. But that box was very clean, and you can see there it had the offer sticker for kind of the survival kit type of type of items, some extra weapons, backpacks, and grappling hooks, things like that. That was a special offer sticker that was only applied on some of the ESB AT-ATs. So I just wanted to show that. Next up, I have, I think, 2 different Imperial shuttles that sold. Here was a loose complete one. That one sold in an auction for $455 on 19 bids. Very clean example, though. One thing to look out for that I've talked about in past videos for the Imperial shuttle, if you're looking for one, is yellowing, especially on the wings. The wings can get very, very yellowed, even slightly yellowed, and it's hard to tell unless you look at it really closely. To me, this one looks very clean. It looks pretty pristine for the price, $455. That's a number, to me personally, I'd pay all day long for one in the condition that it appears to be in. So very nice example. And then here was another one where you could maybe make an argument where the wings could potentially have a little bit of yellowing. If it does have yellowing, it's very faint. I've seen ones with much more yellowing than this one. So I would argue that this one was not as clean, but it also included the box, which the box was in really good shape overall. You know, these boxes are huge, and usually they get stuffed in somebody's attic or in somebody's garage, and they get pretty beat up. This one was not perfect by any means, but in pretty clean shape. But you could, again, make the argument that this Imperial shuttle, the actual toy, was not quite as clean as the last one. This one was listed for $650. The best offer accepted was $550. So again, this one was just the shuttle, sold for $455. This one, the shuttle was not as clean, but it included the box and sold for $550. So that gives you a pretty nice tight price range to aim for one that's not gradable condition, just a nice display piece. Next up, we've got the Tatooine Skiff from the Power of the Force line, always desirable. And this one looked to be in pretty clean condition. It was listed for $850. The best offer accepted on that was $675. That's actually the lowest price I've seen for one of these in a while. Usually they're going $800 to $900 in this kind of condition. So I thought that was a pretty good price there. And then finally, I had the Droids A-Wing fighter. This one was in really clean condition. The box was super clean. It was not mint in seal box, obviously, but it included the insert as well as the planetary map. And it also included the instruction sheet with unused sticker sheet. So this one, I think, would qualify for qualified grading. So I almost said uncirculated. Qualified grading, because it's got unused contents, unused sticker sheet, and it appears to be in really great shape. Don't quote me on that, because maybe some of those blasters and things like that came in a baggie still sealed. But to me, it looks unused contents, but I could be wrong on that. But it's a very nice item. I mean, the box was in really great shape. Look how beautiful that box was. And I just love the box art on the A-Wing fighter. It just really stands out. That one sold in an auction, only one bid for $900 plus $33 shipping. So pretty good price on that one. And let me know in the comments what you think about some of these prices. I enjoy making them for you and trying to kind of appease subscriber requests in the comments. And, you know, one of them was, or two of them were, I haven't seen any loose complete videos in a while. So here you go. Loose complete vehicles, loose complete action figures. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.